Welcome to Turnaround Talks. I'm joined by Dawn Edwards, and for those that don't know Dawn, she's really influential in the business world of the Chamber, D2N2, but I will let Dawn introduce herself more in more detail very soon. But Turnaround Talks has been devised to look at good news stories and to celebrate all the inspirational business leaders that are around with us, and obviously Dawn is one of those. So I'm just going to pass you over to Dawn. So for the people that are listening, Dawn, would you kindly introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Dawn Edwards. My day job is in my company at Challenge Consulting. We're a training business and we're passionate about training. Our clients work with us to improve profits, to squeeze value out of their employees through happy managers and managers that are competent at doing what they do best. And really our slogan is training not boring, which gives you a clue to the style that we exhibit with our training courses. We also have a Centre for Leadership and Management Qualifications, and we're the largest centre for ILM in the East Midlands. In my not day job, I am the president of the East Midlands Chamber of Commerce for the year 2019 to 2020. And in that role, it means that I head up the board and hopefully will steer towards business objectives for the East Midlands really, and influence those who are in a position to do something about it. And we go down to Westminster with a manifesto with the voice of business, and there are about 4,300 member companies within the organisation at the moment who are members of the Chamber of Commerce.
So obviously, Dawn, you've got a significant business background behind you. Just again for people here, just tell us a little bit about how you got involved in what you're doing.
Well, my background is that I was the daughter of an entrepreneur. He was actually a chimney sweep and he was always self-employed. And through my career, I came up through the ranks, started work as a YTS, and that sort of gave me an introduction to lots of different departments around an organisation. And I also studied business studies even from the age of 16 when I left school and went to work. And through that, I started as a secretary, soon decided I wanted to rise in the ranks, if you like. So I worked really, really hard. I got a job in management and went to commercial lending. Through that, I eventually got a job at Home Brewery as investment manager. And I used to go around to the pubs and have a look at whether or not we should lend them money, and if so, at what rate. And as part of that, I was clearly looking at finances, balance sheets, profit and loss, and ability to repay. So all the things that perhaps are really good grounding for people. And as part of that, I was lucky enough to be nominated to go onto a project when Home Brewery, which was owned by Scottish and Newcastle, took over Courage Brewery. And there was two of everything. And I was one of the people that was appointed to help to give direction to that business and decide what to keep and get rid of. And in so doing, it was decided to shut the branch I worked at and my job was made redundant. So it was a great opportunity for me. I just finished a master's degree, which was part funded through them. They were really supportive. And that allowed me to go delivering 1 day a week for Montford University on their MBA programme. And that was fantastic grounding again. And I started doing commercial training very shortly thereafter. And I was poached by their commercial training arm actually at Montford. And that sort of spurred me to start on my own. And the rest, as they say, is history.
Isn't it amazing how adversity sometimes actually takes you to the very destination that you're supposed to be at, actually? It's weird how that happens, isn't it?
Absolutely. And I wouldn't change anything. I've had a great career in that I've won a couple of awards, one of which was what got me in front of the board at the Chamber of Commerce. It was actually the Nottinghamshire Entrepreneur of the Year. So that was in the 2011-2012 year. And at that point, they were looking for board members. And I thought, I don't really fit the bill for the Chamber. But I thought, you know what, I'm going to go through that door and have a look, see what I can add. And skills is clearly my thing, and it was something they were looking for, and I've been on the board ever since. And part of that as well, I'd at the time taken on another business in 2007, which was a children's day nursery in the local area. It was closing down. And that was the reason I think that they picked me. I'd decided to try a different business in a completely different sector. They don't call me Challenge for nothing. And I decided to see if I could turn that one round as well. And that won awards within the first 2 years for Nursery Newcomer through Nursery Today. So I think that was what did it. It wasn't a fluke that I was successful the first time around, and I proved that to myself. And I think sometimes that self-affirmation is really important too.
I think it is. It's always about opening the door, isn't it? Even though you're not quite sure what's behind the door, is to actually open it and walk in it. I think that's one of the biggest things, isn't it?
Absolutely, and grasping opportunities. I've been really lucky. I don't think opportunities come to people necessarily. I think you have to sort of pave the way for that to happen, and that means getting out there and being brave from time to time.
Okay, so what made the step to the president of the chamber? And I know you're also involved in D2N2 as well. Tell us a little bit about that. How did the president come about?
Well, I became president. The board of directors nominate and vote, and clearly so do the member organisations. And really, it's about who is it that is likely to give a different dimension and a different angle, because clearly the East Midlands Chamber is there to represent every size, shape and sector of business. And so it's quite right and proper that we do have a different style and a different makeup of people on the board to represent those organisations and the diverse range of people out there. And quite frankly, the training and development hat was the thing I think that stole the show, because as you're probably aware, there's a huge skills shortage at the moment. Apprenticeships and the apprenticeship levy had not long come into the arena, and clearly that's something that I'm aware of. I don't do funded training, and actually the D2N2 link that you've mentioned there, clearly we do, as Challenge in my company, do some work both for the Chamber and for D2N2, and that have a long association with both. But my job ultimately is to drive up skills and knowledge and to get the organisations performing better through their people. And that is my passion. It's what I'm good at. And my staff here share that passion for leadership. So anything we can do, if people are willing to pay, that's brilliant. The role of the Chamber isn't paid, but I'm willing to do it because I truly believe that I can add something, and giving back is really, really important. And as part of my work at the Chamber, I head up the Skills and Communities, which is a subcommittee of the Chamber, and we're actually looking at ways of bringing together businesses with those in the community who need help. And the idea is that if you as a business want to bid for work, then actually you need to show social value. And if you can all come together and be a small piece in a large jigsaw that has a really big impact for the community out there, then that's easier to gain points on the scoring when you're looking for procurements, really. And often those are very bland scoring matrices. So the more that we can actually give people to give a demonstrable edge is going to help them to gain that work.
And I think the ripple effect, what you alluded to, is really powerful, isn't it? Sometimes we don't think that one person or one business can actually have a big effect, but it's surprising what ripple effect that can have.
I do think people underestimate when people talk about corporate and social responsibility. I'm actually striving to change that, I think, and communities has been added to the Chamber strapline. So we're actually supporting business and communities. And I do think that the minute you put corporate in front of corporate and social responsibility, for some organisations, particularly smaller ones, it becomes a bit out of their reach. It's almost like it's something the big organisations do. For me, social values, social responsibility and community responsibility is something we all play a part of. We're all part of our community. I love the East Midlands. I love Nottingham, Leicester and Derby. I spend time in all of them, and there's no place I'd rather be. So for me, if I can give back, and everybody gave a little back, what an enormous sea change we could all make, because as you said, a little ripple turns into a massive wave, and that's what I'm hoping we can do.
Yeah, and it's making me jump on to another question, and I'm going to come back to another question as well for you, if I may. But obviously, D2N2, you've just set up a series, Grit and Grace. For, again, people that aren't familiar with it, just tell us a little bit about Grit and Grace.
Grit and Grace is a programme that is being funded through the Local Enterprise Partnership, D2N2, and it's for businesses to attend free of charge, but it is being paid for in the background. So the quality has been there because we've been able to develop it. And it was time, I believe, for some of the statistics that are quite startling and quite shocking to perhaps start to be addressed a little. So for instance, only 1 in 3 business startups. This is the Rose Report from 2019, by the way, if you want to reference it and have a read. It's really sobering reading. Only 1 in 3 startups are actually started by a female. And the reality is that we scale up a lot less than men. Even when we stay around, and actually there's not that much difference. Once we're staying around, we tend to stay around just as much as men do. But in terms of size of business, we don't scale anywhere near as much as men. So I'm not sure why that is, whether that's aspiration, whether it's available time, whether it's choice, or whether it's unconscious bias or maybe overt bias. But nevertheless, there must be some reasons for that. And actually, if women did start businesses at the same rate as men, and there's no reason why we couldn't, actually it would add value to the UK economy of about an extra £240 billion. So that for me is a really big driver. As a female myself, I don't believe in glass ceilings. What I do believe in is dreams and aspiration. And if I can ignite the passion in just one person to have a go, then I've done my job really.
No, and I think that's a real quality about you, Dawn, as well. It's about everyone as well. Everybody's inclusive. And I know that Grit and Grace is geared towards women in this series, but I know that you're definitely there for everybody, every opportunity for everyone.
Anyone that knows me will tell you that, to be honest, I don't really see gender or biological sex or anything else. All I see is people. And ultimately, you know, I do believe that every single person has a potential in there. I'm very fortunate in that I've got a really happy home life. I've got 2 daughters and a son. And quite frankly, all of my children have had the same message, and that is get out there, put yourself out there, don't play it safe. You're going to make mistakes, learn from them every day. And you know what? I'll be proud of you. It doesn't really matter how it ends up, as long as you've had a go, because I truly do believe that you do regret the things you don't try. And I'm their mum, I'm there. I hope to support them should they fall down, just like I did when they were little kids. You don't learn things, do you? You don't learn to walk in a day. And the thing is, everything throughout life is a learning curve. I've certainly made some mistakes throughout my career, but I've learned from them, and I'm likely to make some more before I'm done, because if you don't take a risk, you've never really tried things that are outside your comfort zone, have you?
And I think that is the thing, isn't it? It's about opening that door, isn't it? It's going back to opening that door. If you don't try, you never know, isn't it? It's that leap of faith to make that change.
Absolutely.
So we're just coming to the end, so thank you so much. But just before I did say I'd go back. So obviously with all of the lobbying, with all of the campaigns that you get involved in and the evidence that you see through the organisations that you are involved in, what is your greatest advice you'd give out right now to business owners?
If you're starting out, get your ducks in a row. And I know that sounds like a really colloquial phrase, but for me, although I think that risk is really important, my background in commercial finance and commercial lending has told me that actually planning is the way to go. And also, you don't see what other people see. And for me, doing your research, asking around, truly not just sitting in front of a computer and Googling, but getting out there, getting opinions, getting advice, but be careful who you listen to. I truly believe there are individuals out there who will always try to pull you down. And it's easy to listen to those individuals. And I remember when I started out, people saying to me, you're absolutely mad. Why would you go off and do that? You've been offered a job, as I was offered a job instead of being made redundant somewhere else based from Newark at John Smith's. I didn't want to go because I thought it was my time to go self-employed. And I'd got 3 months to make it work. And I do believe there's a bit of inspiration that gets born out of panic, Amanda. And I do believe that actually for me, give it your all. There's no such thing as work-life balance when you first start out in business, in my humble opinion. And I know that's a controversial statement. Pulling an all-nighter sometimes is necessary. But if you're not going to sleep because you'll be worrying about it, get on and do it would be my advice. Sleep tomorrow.
No, absolutely. So also, we are coming to an end, but I'm just interested, your legacy. Obviously, you're touching so many people, and even with the Grit and Grace, the amount of people that you're going to help and inspire and hopefully make them go through that door and take that leap of faith. What would you like your legacy to be?
Just that maybe I am slightly different. I don't necessarily fit the mould. I know that some of the research that's been done is that even young children, when they imagine a leader, imagine a man, usually a white man, middle-aged. For me, I don't fit that mould. I'm very different. I'm probably not everyone's cup of tea, but my legacy will be that you don't have to do. As long as you're happy in your own skin and you're fulfilling your dreams. And those dreams don't have to be about money. They don't have to be about business. That's everyone's right to choose. So whatever you set out to do and whatever you measure your success on, be happy and get on and do it.
Oh, thank you, Dawn. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.